Hello again, and welcome back to Soldiers of the Lich Queen. I'm your Dungeon Master Sam, and we are down one player today, but there will be an explanation for his absence, and we'll be able to bring him back in whenever he can rejoin us. No. So, with that, are there any channel announcements to get started with?
Hold on. One sec. I might restart the stream. It's upload speed is at 0 kilobytes.
Oh, no.
We'll see if it corrects itself. There we go. I think. Hi. Announcements. Wednesday, come back and join us for the finale of our haunted house campaign at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're gonna finish that off. The party last week, since it's a two-party game that I run it through, I'm excited to get it done and over with because the whole two-party system over like just alternating groups each week is really annoying and frustrating. I found out.
Try to avoid the two-party system.
Try to avoid the two-party system. Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. But last week, the first party that went into the house to look for the people that were lost encountered the deity that controls this entire house. He's made it to sort of his own playground, and that deity is Vecna. So I had a party of 4 players at 6th level fight Vecna, with the whole sole purpose of that campaign is to kill everyone. And 2 of them survived the encounter, and it got crazy from there. And I'm excited to finish that off, and then after that, Dungeon of the Mad Mage will be taking that spot. And I love Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I never got to finish it on the channel before, but I'm excited to finish it now. And Wednesdays at 10 p.m., tune in for our pirate campaign Beneath the Tide, because we just ended the first arc in a way I didn't expect it to happen. The main baddie for the arc just is no longer the main baddie of that arc, and stuff happened, and Sam summoned a primordial entity, so it's gonna be a lot of fun to continue the second arc and everything else. I'm really excited. So that's 10 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be episode 15, I believe, that we will be on. So we've been doing that for 15 weeks, give or take a couple weeks from holidays and stuff. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern time is Grim Shade Mountain. You can watch Garrett, a familiar face on the channel, DM that game. And you can watch my character Gorak deal with the repercussions of killing his previous party members. So it's funny. And then July 17th, I believe that's a Wednesday, we'll be doing a charity stream through Extra Life, but also for the channel, so you can help donate funds for Extra Life for the kids, for a good cause, because some kids, don't have good access to healthcare and everything, and help those kids out, help give the hospitals more money to support children and make them healthy and alive and stuff. And we'll also be taking donations for the channel as well, so you can help everyone here have a better streaming setup, and help me actually give back to the people that help me run the channel, pay the people who run games for the channel, give them a little bit of extra stuff on the side for helping me out, because yeah, it's not fair that I reap what little rewards there are when other people are helping out quite a lot. So that'll be July 17th from 12 noon to 12 a.m. And we'll be running games all day. They'll probably be 3 hours a piece, 2 to 3 hours a piece, maybe even shorter, like an hour a piece. But I think 12 one-hour games might be a little hectic, so we'll probably just do what we did last charity stream at 3 hour games a piece. In the game, I'll be running at 10 p.m. in our usual slot on Wednesdays. Will be an all kobold party they're dealing with trapping out their dungeon and dealing with the adventurers who come in and try to kill them. So it's going to be really fun. And if anyone wants to run a game for the charity stream on the 17th, just hit me up and let me know, and we can figure out a slot for y'all. I'm looking at you, Sam. That's all my announcements. Check out our Patreon, please. And Ko-fi, whatever it's called. You can check that out too. And also, I'm in the process of writing an adventure for the DM's Guild. It's called Halls of Madness, and it is a second-tier adventure that takes place in the Halls of Pandemonium. That's really all I'm going to say. Other than also check out the setting book I'm working on called Madness and Meat Pies, whenever that comes out. Okay, that's it. That's a lot of announcements, but I'm done.
Okay. So, with that then, we'll get back into it. So just sort of to recap last week, or what's happened so far. You have all graduated from the enclave of your initial 2 years of Gith training. After that, due to your performance and due to the fact that the other most successful squad ended up having a bit of a mishap in town and getting 2 of their members kidnapped, which you reported back on, you were selected for the honor of attending your first Githyanki raid, which involved a bunch of Githyanki astral ships or astral skiffs appearing in the air around a village or / town. You weren't quite sure of its original size because by the time you got there, it was being bombarded from the sky and just absolutely obliterated. But there was a spellcaster in the town who was retaliating and shooting fireballs up at the ships, which knocked yours out of the sky. And you managed to get down there, get past her giant spectral hand that was defending her, and knock her unconscious and capture her so that the Gith could finish their assault. And after that, you were congratulated and promised rewards for your service, but also it begged the question, are we the bad guys? Which is where you kind of were left at the end of that. You were then given the resources and opportunity to select your very first location to start in the world and go and ostensibly find your first mind flayer and kill it. But I believe the goal that you all sort of talked about and mentioned was more find allies and resources so that we can put a stop to whatever the Githyanki are up to, because we don't necessarily like this. So that's where we're going to be picking up. All of you have there's been a couple of days since the raid. There's been a period of research where you were all trying to determine where would be the best place for you to sort of get started. You considered several cities, you researched entrances to the Underdark, but over a period of a few days and looking at things and trying to figure out where would be the best option, you eventually settled on the city of Pyre on the western coast of the continent of Quenon, in a collection of nations known as the Arclight Covenant. It is the largest city in the world and has pretty much everything that you could ask for. It has religious scholars. It has a magical university. It has resources, people. It's a center of trade. Basically, all the things that you could need to try and find and gather allies for whatever it is you want to do. That's the place. So we're going to pick up shortly before your scheduled departure. You are aware that you will be boarding an astral skiff one more time, and they'll be taking you through the astral sea as a shortcut to drop you off there and send you out on your journey. But you were also promised some rewards, so those will probably be given to you at that point as well. So over the past few days, in between research and trying to figure out where you're going to be going, let's just go around and see what's everyone been doing, what's everyone been up to these past couple days. How y'all been doing?
Well, I know what Hannibal's been up to for these last couple days.
Okay.
He's been trying to get some privacy in where he works in his little workshop. So when he's alone, if there is a point where he's just by himself completely,
mm-hmm.
He's going to take that Gith body he put in his bag of holding that he just like scooped in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to pull it out just so the head's out.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take his what do I have for weapons? Sickle. I'll take my sickle, and I'm just going to try to decapitate the body.
Okay. I mean, it takes you some time because a sickle is meant for technically originally harvesting grain.
Yeah.
It's a slashing weapon, but you get there. There's some hard bits in there you need to work through. But you've got the workshop to yourself, and eventually, through a very grisly, gruesome process, you manage to sever the head.
All right, I shove the body back into the bag of holding, and I take out. Hold on a second. This could be funny. No, I'm gonna write a note in my journal. This head for Mind Flayer ally brokering. And I'm going to put the head back into my bag of holding, so it's a separate item I can just give to an Illithid. Like, hey, here's a brain for you to snack on.
Okay. So it's separate, so you can just...
Yeah, I'm going to use it to like try to broker a truce. And I'm just going to shove that back into the bag of holding. And that's what Hannibal's been up to.
All right, so your inventory now contains 1 headless Githyanki corpse and 1 Githyanki head. Separate. All right. What about Aja or Drusilla? Those are hard names to say back to back.
I'd like to try to find the prisoner from the raid.
Okay. Looking around the Enclave, you're not quite sure where you would keep prisoners. You would assume probably up in the main pyramid where Grantar's main quarters are whenever he's visiting the Enclave. But you've never actually seen them bring in a prisoner, so you're not entirely sure where they would keep one.
Could I try asking around, perhaps?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So you can ask around. Ask around the Enclave, and for the most part, what you find is that she is actually not. She is actually not in the Enclave. She was taken somewhere else. There was most likely to the main Githyanki hub city in the Astral Sea, as opposed to just brought back here.
Rad. Probably for the best.
Is there anything else you want to do?
I think the only other thing Aja would probably do is just sort of generally reconnoiter and try to commit habits, numbers, forces, that sort of thing to memory.
Okay. All right. So just basically looking around and trying to just remember as much of this as possible for strategic purposes, tactical purposes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what about Drusilla?
What was the name of the trainer lady that was with us?
Oh, your handler, so to speak.
Yeah, her.
Her name was, he says very slowly as the document opens. Her name. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm terrible with names, even my own. I mean, not my name, but the names I come up with. Arena was her name.
Arena. Scylla is gonna go talk to her if she's around.
Oh yeah, she's definitely around and always available for you guys. She is your personal person.
What a sweetheart. So Drusilla's just gonna go up to her and she's like, "Hey, do you have a moment?"
Oh, for you, of course, anytime. What do you need?
Can we talk in private, please?
Of course, yes. Is there any particular place? I'm
just somewhere where no one can hear us.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you guys can go into your guys' own personal quarters that you share. What did you need?
We're leaving here pretty soon.
Yes, you are.
It's been a long 2 years, and I wanted to say thank you. I know I wasn't the easiest to deal with, especially at the beginning, but you were nothing but kind, and I appreciated that.
Well, I knew that you had the potential for greatness. So sometimes the most difficult plants to cultivate are the most beautiful when they bloom.
That's very sweet. And Drusilla's gonna give her a hug if she'll let her.
Yeah, she just gotta stand. She like normally keeps her arms to her side, so it's kind of those things with like a trapped upper arm hug. So she kind of has to like just put her lower forearms around you from the sides. She seems unexpected, but she returns the hug. Oh wait, actually, never mind. This would be like a waist hug. Actually, now that I think about it, so it's actually just.
Okay, that's all. Just no, this never happened. I have a reputation to keep.
I'll keep your secret.
Thank you.
Okay. And then after a little bit of time, it becomes time for you all to get ready to leave. So anything you have, any of your possessions, any belongings, anything you need to pack up, you can grab it and get ready to go.
All right. Handel's going to be sitting in his office, closing his eyes, like almost like meditating. And he's going to prepare his spells for the day. And then he's going to open his eyes, put on his bowler hat, and he's going to meet up with the others.
Okay. So anybody else, any last minute things in the Enclave before you head out? Your skiff is there and ready, and they're awaiting you to head out and leave.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. So then, all right, you guys can make your way over to the skiff landing field. You notice, though, it's just the three of you as you're heading over. You don't see Reggie. And you think, actually, thinking back, you haven't seen him since this morning.
Have you guys seen Veggie?
Not. Drusilla?
No, I hope he's not out in the forest trying to be a bear.
Oh.
No.
He could be dead. That would be funny. He got like dysentery and died in the woods.
We should probably try to find him.
No, I think that's okay.
He may be a bear. That's a good point, I think.
I don't want to find a bear.
Well, he won't be a bear. He'll be Reggie who thinks he's a bear, which is more concerning, I think, than either Reggie or a bear.
Here,
I'll turn to one of our escorts and ask them if they know where Reggie is.
The other member of your squad, you mean? I believe Grantar said he was giving him a special mission this morning.
Hmm.
to clean the outhouses.
Maybe, I don't know.
That would be funny.
Will he be coming with us?
You'd have to ask Grantar. I don't keep track of all of that.
So I guess we're going to be the Three Musketeers today.
I suppose so. Well, carry on, I guess.
Okay, so you can carry on. You make as you make your way over to the skiff. A few other Gith are gathering. Arena is there. This is a big occasion. You're the first graduating class of this enclave, so this is like kind of what its entire purpose has been for. It's been getting you guys out and trained up and out into the world. And as you come over, Grantar comes into view out from behind, inspecting. It looks like he was inspecting the skiff, just making sure absolutely everything was up to his specifications. And he makes his way over to you with that very stoic, stony expression on his face, his cape wrapped around him as he comes up in front of you. He says, "Ah, good. Are you prepared to begin your journey?"
We are missing Reggie, but otherwise, yes.
That is my doing. Reggie is actually a native of the region to which you are going. Pyre, the city you've chosen, is the westernmost point of the collection of more human nations known as the Arclight Covenant. Reggie is from the easternmost side, so he's going to be very familiar with the region. He was sent ahead to secure some information. So you will be able to meet up with him in due time.
Wunderbar.
Great.
Before you leave, you performed admirably in the raid.
Thank you.
Now, as any gift would be entitled to when you participate, you shall be receiving your own portion of the earnings from the raid. And he gestures to one side, and another gift comes over with just a couple of coin purses and hands one to each of you. And Grantar says, Reggie has already been given his share before he left. In addition, and those all, by the way, those coin purses, you each get 100 gold pieces.
Heck yeah.
To start off. Raiding a town is lucrative.
This feels like blood money.
No, we cleaned the coins off.
Oh.
No, he doesn't say that. But he says, in addition, you performed above and beyond not only what the average soldier would be expected, but especially given your early levels of experience within our organization, and not even being full soldiers. In removing a significant threat, you allowed the raid to continue and prevented the loss of life from your fellow Gith. For that, we have found a suitable reward for you among some of the more magical items that were obtained through the raid. And he holds out a hand to his side, and then a Gith puts something into his hands, and he steps forward and holds out his hand, and in it you see a pair of small stones about this big, carved into the shape of a head with the mouth open. And he says, these are known as sending stones. They allow you to communicate over a large distance from one to the other.
Wunderbar.
Given that you're going to be out in the world, and if you would like to divide your attentions, these will allow you to keep in communication with each other.
Wunderbar. That could be very useful.
Indeed. So yeah, there's sending stones, which basically it's once per day they can cast the spell sending. The recipient has to be the person holding the other stone.
All right, so we're getting, how many are we getting?
2.
2?
They come in a pair, yeah.
So who should take one? I don't know. I am proficient in Arcana, if that means anything.
They can be used by anybody, actually.
Okay.
They're once per day walkie-talkies.
I think Drusilla would be a good choice. Her ability to scout ahead and being able to communicate may be quite helpful.
That is a good idea.
And I couldn't imagine depriving you of an arcane gift, so...
Yes, I love arcane gifts. I love gifts so much. Gives them all to me. Alright, so Drusilla and I both get a sending stone?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. So now I have a bag of holding and a sending stone.
Mm-hmm.
Because I made a bag of holding as an artificer.
Yeah.
Artificers are great, you guys.
He says without any sort of bias or...
I've always liked artificers. I've never just been able to play one before. Oh shit.
Mm.
If one of the stones in a pair is destroyed, the other becomes non-magical.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
It can only send to the other one. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. All right, yeah. So Hannibal will just pocket the one of the sending stones in the inner pocket of his coat, not in
Okay.
his makeshift bag of holding.
All right. All right, and then Grantar will say, he's talking to you, but he speaks up, so he's kind of addressing the crowd as a whole. He says, "This is a momentous occasion. 2 years of your lives have been dedicated to this, and far more than that for the rest of us who have seen this in order to arrive to its fruition. Now you go on into the world on your first ever hunt. Build allies, gain strength, gain resources, and return once you have obtained the head of one of the Illithid. As soon as you do, you will be transported directly to the throne of our queen to present it to her and join the ranks of her immortal soldiers."
Aja will look up at him and stare at him for a moment and say, "We'll be back. You can count on that."
I believe I am right to place my faith in you.
Ha!
You have shown great promise thus far. Do not disappoint me. Now, he gestures towards the skiff and says, "Your transportation awaits. I wish you luck."
Yep, Hannibal just goes right for the skiff.
Okay. You guys can all hop on board. And Grantar stays down below. The ship has got a crew. They'll be basically dropping you off. Yeah. So as you all get on, the sails unfurl and begin to billow from an unseen wind as it lifts off into the air and begins flying, the wood creaking as it moves, pulled behind the masts, until you see that strange fading again as the sky around you fades out, and then that amber and purple starry sky all around you fades in, and you are in the astral sea. And some time goes by. It's a couple hours journey to get where you're going. Just sailing through this featureless void with just dots of things floating in the void around you. Some large, some small. See one very, very large, immobile humanoid shape. It looks like it's right off the bow and a normal size. Then you realize how far away it is and how big that must mean it is.
Can Hannibal get a good look at it and try to figure out what it is?
You can try. It looks like it is, like, as you're like looking at it, and Hannibal, you're an educated person, so you're like,
I like to think so.
You're like moving up and down the deck of the ship, trying to like figure out, like, based on how that shifts things, like how far away it is, and you realize that, like, it's not, for the whole length of the skiff, it's not really moving much at all. So that thing must actually be like a couple miles away, and for you to be able to see this well, like, it must be enormous. Like hundreds of feet from end to end.
I don't want to know what it is.
Okay. I was like, I changed my mind. I don't want to know. All right. And after a few hours of just silence, or...
Actually, Hannibal's going to walk over to his two allies.
Okay.
And is there anyone around us, like Gith, or anyone like in close proximity?
Not really, no. They're pretty much just operating the ship, and it's a fairly skeleton crew.
So I figured something out for our plan to kill Grantar. Or at least my plan to kill Grantar. You see, I prepared this spell I can use where I can change my appearance to look like someone else. So if I'll have anything we need to do or to get information, I could, disguise myself as Grantar and sneak into the Enclave when we're back and try to suss out information regarding everything.
That's clever. Hannibal. Very clever indeed.
See, watch. Like, I'll show you an example right now. And I take my my white glove that has all my like trinkets in it that I cast my spells with, and I just go like this. I do like the John Cena, you can't see me. And as I do that, I cast Disguise Self and take on the appearance of Reggie.
Okay.
Goodness. Wow.
See,
That's,
I can look like anyone.
And you picked Reggie, huh? That's
Just for reasons I could sabotage him.
no
And
doubt.
I drop Reggie's pants. And then run around the deck a little bit, and like in circles and stuff. And then when I come back, I dispel it after pulling all my clothes up.
Okay. You do that.
See, it's a wonderful trick I can do if I need to use it.
Do you think it would be prudent not to talk about our aspirations until we're firmly away?
I don't think anyone heard me. They're all too focused on flying the ship, but yes,
Just in case.
just in case. Maybe they'll think who Reggie was talking about it and they'll kill him instead.
Or just not talk about it at all. That's probably best.
Wunderbar is probably a good idea.
Yeah. Good idea.
Okay. And then Hannibal just remains silent for the rest of the trip.
Okay. Over some time, you notice again that shifting, that almost cross-fading, as the purple, amber, starry sky around you fades out and is replaced by a much more familiar blue sky. And as it does, you feel your altitude dropping fairly rapidly, not enough like for you to start, floating off the deck or anything, but you begin a steep descent. And as you look, you can notice you're flying along, skirting about 10 feet off the ground at this point, and the ship is moving up and down and side to side, around and over what looks to be just very gradual sloping hills of grassland around you. And eventually, as it goes along, it slows and then comes to a stop in sort of a wide bowl-shaped depression in between some hills. And they begin lowering the gangplank. Can't really see outside of it. It looks like this is probably they're attempting to hide the skiff from view, so you can't really see past this area. And then they begin lowering the gangplank down.
So, now what?
The one who is steering the ship comes over and says, "All right, this is where we have to let you off. We don't want to get too close." But he points in the direction. "The city you're going to is that way."
Thank you, sir. And Hannibal will walk down the gangplank.
Okay. Should be a short walk.
Good, good.
All right.
Come, minions, let's go.
Before we go, I'm not a minion. I'm an ally, you might remember.
Ha.
Small point, I know, but I think it's an important one. Drusilla is also not a minion. She's an ally as well, in case you were wondering. And Aja would like to get out her cartographer's kit.
Okay.
And see if she can get a feel for where she is in relation to some of the landmarks she might be able to see around her.
Okay. Right now you're kind of just very much like this is a fairly sheltered spot, so if you get up to the top of a hill, you could be able to see a lot better.
Okay. I'll wait till we get to the top of the hill.
All right. So you guys exit the skiff, and as you do, you hear it creak, the gangplank raise up, and it takes off, and then turns, and then flies back in the other direction, then just sort of fades out of view and disappears. You get to the top of the hill. You can see actually that they dropped you off fairly close. Down some slopes from where you're standing, you can see stretched out before you, a good distance away, the city gates, the outer wall of the city of Pyre. You can see it stretches for miles in each direction, and you can see a pair of rivers that go through sluice gates out through the walls of the city. Looks like there's a river that forks inside the walls itself. And there's a road that comes up between them and enters into a huge set of double doors of city gates. And you can see a slow trickle of carts and horses and travelers along the road entering and exiting. And at the far, far end of the city, which it looks like this city is about maybe like 5, 6, 7, you're not really sure. Definitely upwards of 5 miles from end to end in the longest direction. At the far, far end, you can see it slopes up to a tall, very tall hill with ending in a cliff, with it appears to be some sort of palace on the top of it.
What are we going to tell anyone who asks where we're from or what our business is?
We could say we're from a illustrious academy, and we're looking for new students.
Which one, or what if they know it?
We'll just make one up. I'll say we're from the School of Hard Knocks. No, that's terrible.
That's
well,
or maybe something less obvious.
I could stuff you both in my new bag, and you could hide in there while I walk around.
I'm not hiding in your bag.
No,
Okay.
thank you.
You'd probably suffocate, I think.
Yeah,
Most likely.
that's a bad choice, I think, on the whole.
Hmm.
How about we're from a small town on the other side of the mountains or something no one could have heard of?
Sure, that could probably work, yes. What is the name of said town? Nilbog.
I was gonna go with Reggie, but yours is probably better.
Nilbog is just goblin backwards.
That's clever. Let's... Drusilla, what do you think?
We could always just say we're from the forest and not have to worry about a town name.
I don't look like I'm from a forest.
Is that going to cause us issues? Your appearance?
I don't think so. Reggie's here and he doesn't look handsome.
I mean,
we don't all look like quite inviting personalities.
Nilborg seems like the simple solution.
Aja looks like she's going to kill someone at any moment with her weapons. Reggie is just boisterous and, well, he's Reggie. Drusilla, you can turn into scary animals, and I'm just intellectually scary for anyone of low intelligence. So, I say I like the idea that we come from a town away from here.
Nilborg.
Nilbog.
Nilbarg. Yes. Okay.
So.
Oh, Hannibal.
Yes, that's me.
Yes, I know. If you can, don't cut anything off of anyone who is alive.
Oh no, that's okay. I've already cut off something today already, and I could slyly show them the head of the Gith in my bag of holding.
Just opens up his bag and then just...
And then I shove it back in. I has that for reasons.
can I ask why?
So, if we find an Illithid, the mind flayers, they like to eat brains, so I could use this head, because as the Giths, they're mortal enemies. I could use this head to broker an allegiance with us and the Gith to kill Grantar and destroy the Enclave.
But for now, how about you don't cut anything off of anyone who's currently using it?
Well, I mean, if I go to a brothel, there's no promises. That was a joke. I don't go into brothels. They are disgusting.
Right. Okay.
Germs get everywhere. People don't wash themselves there. Anyways, where should we go?
To the gate.
To the gates.
Did the gates?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's get some lodging. And
Drusilla, is there any chance you could like turn into a horse or something? If our feet get tired?
I'm not carrying you.
So that is understandable. And Hannibal just walks towards the gate.
Okay, you guys make your way down. It's a little bit of a walk to get to onto the road and towards the gates. And as you approach the very tall, 30 to 40 foot stone walls of the city that extend and almost to the edge of your view in either direction to either side, you do. This might be the first time any of you have been to a city at all.
certainly for Aja.
Definitely for Aja. Drusilla grew up in the woods.
Yeah.
And Hannibal pretty much never left the Enclave. So none of you have ever been to a city before. So you come up to the gates. It looks like they have the gates look like they have basically like a gatehouse built over the top of it and down the sides for where there could be guards or archers set up in the case of defense is needed. And the gates are very large and very thick wood with a heavy metal portcullis, but it looks like the gates themselves are sitting wide open. The portcullis is up, and the way inside is clear. And actually, as you come up to the main gates, you can hear a large amount of commotion and see a lot of people gathered along this main road as it winds into the city.
Oh, so this could be interesting, and Hannibal runs towards the commotion.
Okay.
I guess we should follow him, Drusilla, and keeping him from cutting anything off of anyone and getting us in trouble.
That would be preferred. Let's go.
Although if it comes to him or us, I think we bolt.
Just make sure you grab the stone.
All right. So it looks like as you're walking along, you can see that it looks like up ahead, there's people lining the sides of the streets, like people rushing out from side streets and houses and buildings to come out to the street and then start making their way along in the direction that you're going. And it looks like the crowd is just kind of gathering, like people are lining the streets, but then as whatever this commotion is moves further along the streets, the crowd just gathers from all these people, almost like a parade route, but as if instead of people leaving at the back end of the parade, they just join the crowd at the back end of it and just keep following it.
I wonder what this is for.
Are we near anyone that we might be able to ask?
Oh, plenty. Yeah, there's tons of people. There's probably more people around you than you have ever, already. There's more people around you than you have ever seen in one place in your entire lives.
I turn to the first person I see.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
What is your name?
My name's Archibald.
Archibald. My name is Hannibal.
Nice to meet you.
I am from the city of Nilbog.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well. Sorry, I don't talk to people much. It's a very illustrious city. I am the mayor there.
Oh, well, nice.
And I've come here to broker some treaties. What is this parade for?
Oh, that's right. You're new in town, you said.
Yeah, I just got here 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, this is a big deal. Someone someone making their pilgrimage, trying to join the final leg of their pilgrimage, trying to join the Silver Order.
The Silver Order? What's that?
I'm not sure on the details, but I think it's You see like a slight look of confusion cross his face. This is one of those things. This is kind of one of those things that he's taken for granted, and is just like, yeah, this is the thing you do, but like never been necessarily asked like the how or why. He's, well, I know that there are people who've gotten afflicted with the spell plague, and they'd make a pilgrimage instead of taking a cure, and then they join the Silver Order, and then the Silver Order, well, they protect us and do all sorts of good stuff for the Silver Flame.
What's this about a plague?
Oh, the spell plague?
Yeah, that.
Oh, unless you're coming through some of the worst parts of Illithid to the east, you shouldn't have any problems.
Right, but what is it?
Well, I don't really know. It's been around for a few centuries now, and all I know is that it was created by some wizards trying to create a weapon, I think they said. I've heard stories.
A weapon? Ooh.
And all of this, is it dangerous? This pilgrimage thing?
Well, it can be, but you can give up at any time. You know, no one's. I don't think anyone's ever died on the pilgrimage.
Are we safe here? Are we safe?
Oh, of course. They've got. They make sure that they've got members of the order themselves, and some of the spell purged as well. Just keeping an eye on them.
Is there like a physical component of the spell plague, like a physical substance someone could find, possibly?
What do you mean?
Like, is there like a way that it infects folks?
I don't really know how.
Interesting.
No. I'm just a baker, so I don't know.
Oh, a baker. What do you bake?
Bread, pastries, mostly bread. A lot of bread.
If I give you meat, could you make pies out of it?
Probably.
Wunderbar. Okay, bye. And Hannibal walks away.
Okay. Yeah, and you could guess now that whoever this person is making their pilgrimage is the focal point of the crowd, and what everyone is like kind of watching to try and to get a glimpse of and follow after as they move through the streets.
Maybe we should go and secure our lodgings.
Okay.
I'll try to find somebody else standing around.
Okay. From what you can tell right now, by the way, it looks like as you've been following along this and moving through the streets, this section of town appears to be, it appears to just be a lot of businesses, and you're passing by a lot of like open air market squares and marketplaces in this region. But yes, you can find another person who is like going off and making their way to one side. You can also see people standing on the sides of the road, like with food carts and stuff, selling snacks and things like, meat on a stick or little like sweets or things like that, taking advantage of the high traffic down the main street today.
Asha's just going to grab somebody.
Okay. Yeah.
She'll look back at Reggie, or at Hannibal. Look back to the guy. Hi.
Hello.
My name's Aja.
Nice to meet you.
Looks at Hannibal again. What's yours?
My name is Manfred.
Hi, man. How are you?
Doing all right.
That's good. It's a nice day, I think.
Uh-huh.
We need to sleep. Where do we go?
You need what?
Lodgings. Where do we go?
Oh, like an inn?
Yes.
You could find them all over the place. There's one down that street over there.
Do I see it?
There's a lot of people blocking the way, and it's probably like around a little bit of a bend.
And that's where we can sleep.
Yeah, you
Good.
find plenty of them.
Guy walks away.
Okay. Strange. He follows after the crowd.
I don't know, Hannibal. This is very weird.
I agree.
Sure wish Reggie was here.
That would be pretty good. I think just because I don't know, he could distract the people so we don't have to talk to anyone.
I was thinking he's pretty good at talking to people, but
I think I could be good at talking to people. Watch, I'll show you a demonstration. And I walk up to the meat stick vendor.
Okay.
Hello.
There's a woman. Yeah, there's a woman standing there with the cart, handing out sticks of meat and taking coins from people. Oh, hi, dear. How can
Hello.
I help you?
My name is Hannibal.
Nice to meet you.
I'm here to eat your meat.
All right.
As you
that'll
can
be...
see, I have very sharp teeth, and I can't close my mouth because I don't really have lips.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. What kind of meats do you have?
Mostly lamb.
Do you have people? Lamb? Lamb, you said?
Yeah.
You don't carry people?
I'm sorry?
Lamb? I'm sorry, I come from a town out of here. I think we're getting our dialects mixed up. I'm sorry. Lamb, you said?
Yeah.
How much for the lamb?
To be one stick is 5 copper.
5 copper for one stick of lamb.
Yes.
Okay.
She's gradually looking more and more concerned.
He hands her 10 copper.
Okay.
Now, could you tell me something very good to hear in my ears?
She hands you the stick and just sort of nods.
I hand her 10 copper.
Okay.
Do you know where I could find a place of, I don't know, information? A library, maybe a place that deals in the more arcane, dark magic, possibly?
Oh, for arcane, you just head south across the bridge to Elterberg, for the Elter University.
How long would that take to get to?
Normally not too long, but going to be a lot of people in the streets right now with all of this. She points up and down the streets, so the commotion moving along. So maybe longer.
Okay. So you just have lamb?
Yes.
Why just lamb?
My supplier raises lambs.
What is his name or her name?
Why do you want to know?
I like to know where the sources of my meat come from.
All right. Well, it's a farm outside of town.
Wunderbar. Okay. So you said this place I want to look for is called what again?
Well, the district is Elterberg. It's just across either of the 2 bridges. Just go south across the river, and you'll end up there.
South across river. Thank you very much. What did you say your name was?
Did she say?
I don't know.
I don't think she said. She's like, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Okay. I eat the lamb stick right there in front of her, savagely.
Okay. It's just like hunks of lamb meat.
Yeah.
And I like the shish kebab style.
Just like I eat it like a savage Triton would eat it.
Okay.
Like a piranha.
She doesn't seem too phased by that.
Well, that was lovely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
If you ever get people meeting, let me know. And he walks away. That was a joke.
She looks a little more placated by that, but Still just a little bit of concern on her face.
I walk back to my friend. So I got some information that could be useful to us.
Oh,
I used my very charming personality and flirting skills with that woman over there, and I found out that if we want information in like the arcane or just other information, there's a district south of here across a bridge called Elterberg. We could go there and possibly get information on some stuff, like maybe an Illithid hive or something, or some magical weapons.
or do you think it might be a bit premature to be doing all of that? I mean, Grantar did say that we should be making allies and learning the land, things like that, before we go hunting.
I'm not saying we go hunting. I'm just saying we gather more information from this place of arcane powers.
We need work. That's what we need.
Yes, we need work and money and a place to lay our heads.
Well, I found out where to lay our heads.
Oh, wunderbar.
Although I have to say, I tried your style of communication and it looked uncomfortable.
I think just communicating with people in general is uncomfortable.
Perhaps someone at the inn will know of work we can get.
That could be true. Drusilla,
Hmm?
hello?
Hi.
What do you think we should do?
I am a bit overwhelmed at the moment, so I have no idea.
Would you
I would
feel...
like-
Oh, go ahead.
I would like to get off the streets as well. I also find this a bit too much.
So maybe go to the inn?
Let's.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys can head down a side street. The main street around you is actually clearing out a bit as the parade, so to speak, moves on down the road and starts to cross a bridge across the river to the north. But you can head down the street, and you're walking along, and I'm trying to think which one of you would actually even know what the telltale signs of an inn are.
Not I.
No.
All right. Make me a perception check, everybody.
First roll of the day for me, natural 1.
Same.
2.
1,
You
1,
guys
2.
are you guys are going up and down this street, and like you walk for a while, and you're not really seeing anything that looks like a place to stay. You don't see anything indicating a bed, so you're kind of just walking up and down the street, and you're like maybe a little further, so you keep going farther, and eventually you're just going the full length, just like a couple miles down the street. And at some point you come to the river again, like you come to the northern branch of the river, and you can see to your right there is like a few streets down, there's a bridge that leads across to the other side, but doesn't look like you haven't found any place to stay. Other side of the river, by the way, looks a lot more densely packed just from what you can see. Like the buildings run right up to the waterfront, and they're like at least all of them 3-4 stories tall, made of more rickety looking wood than there's a lot more stone buildings on this side and a lot more rickety looking wood on the other side of the river, and all the buildings look crammed really closely together.
So does either of you know what an inn looks like?
I forgot to ask.
Oh, that's true. Hello, any citizens out there want to help us? I won't pay you, but it could be help. You could be nice to me.
You start like calling out on the street.
Oh God.
Where is the inn? We're looking for an inn. If we're standing outside of it, like if we're standing right outside of it, I'll be very upset.
It's just kind of shouting around. It seems like we have to be less effective here because like you were on a very, very populated main street and you're kind of just off one to the side now. And like, you can see people further down, like individuals, like making their way around, like going about their business, but just standing there, like you see one person just start walking faster.
These people are so rude.
It is still like midday at this point.
I'm going to try finding a person, branching away from Hannibal and all of that that's going on right now.
Okay.
He's not very wise.
You branch away from them. You wander. You kind of have to do a little bit of wandering to find somebody. But eventually you hear sounds like just the repetitive sounds of hammering, just like a clack, 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 clack. And you can follow that and see a person. Looks like you've got about a sort of a, you've got maybe a shop. You're not quite sure. It doesn't really have a sign in front of it, but there's a person standing out in front of it. Looks to be repairing shutters on the front. Got like wooden toolbox off to the side next to them.
Excuse me. Hello?
Hello.
Hi. What's your name?
My name's Conrad. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. Forgive me, but I'm quite new in this town and can't seem to find the inn. Can you maybe show me where it is?
I can't really leave my tools here, but I could give you directions if that would help.
Just or anything would help, really. I'm quite lost.
Oh, all right. Let's see. So the nearest inn to here?
Yes, that would work.
All right. You said you're from out of town.
Yes.
So you're just looking for any old inn? Or are you looking for a district in particular, or do you know anybody?
What would you recommend? Don't know this place.
Well, it's a big place. What kind of business are you here for?
Well, my brother is here to visit the arcane thing down in the south. I can't remember the name of it.
The university. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in that case, you probably want to. There's inns in the university district. You could probably find one there if you want to. You've almost made it to the north branch of the river, so you basically just want to keep heading south until you hit the other side of the other part of the river. Just go across the bridge, and there's plenty of inns over there. I don't know any off the top of my head. I usually don't venture outside Silvergate.
Is that where we are now?
Yes, yeah, you are.
Do you know of any good inns in this district?
I know of a few, yeah.
Which one would you recommend?
Near here, I don't really have cause to stay in one, but I know the Limping Stag makes some good dinner.
All right.
That's you just go down this street and you take a right. I think there's a blacksmith shop. No. Pottery shop. There's a pottery shop on your right. Just across the street from that, you should see the Limping Stag. They've got a sign. It's a green sign. It's got a white picture of a stag on it.
Thank you for describing the sign. It is quite busy here today.
Oh yeah, I heard there's a pilgrimage happening.
Yes, we entered the city and went right into it, I believe.
Well, I'm not one for crowds, but if you're interested, you probably end up. It'll end up at the very top of the hill, a Flamehold, the very top near the Grand Temple. If you've never been in town, it's quite the celebration.
No. My siblings and I will have to check it out.
Mm-hmm. Best of luck to you.
Well, thank you for your help, Conrad.
Oh, yeah.
And she's gonna head
He's-
back.
Picks up his hammer and goes back to just putting in nails.
Go find Hannibal and Aja.
You can find your way back, yeah. Something about you're like navigating through the woods, the dense woods, and navigating through the city. There's like a small bit of resemblance between those. Like, you can see like the small side streets and alleyways remind you of deer paths in a way, like that the the shortest distance between 2 points. Some things are a little more winding and meandering than would make sense in the woods, but there's a little bit of a connection there.
All right. She's also just looking very disgusted with all the people around her at the moment. Just dirty looks.
Okay. Yeah, you can find your way. You can find your way back.
Well, great news, everybody. I met a lovely, lovely gentleman, Conrad. I think we really hit it off. Yeah, he's from this area, so. And he said there's an inn by a pottery shop, and he told me what to look for.
Excellent. Well done.
Let's go.
Wow.
Okay. Okay.
It's a lot better than what me or Hannibal managed. Thank you.
That's very true.
Well, sometimes you just have to be delicate.
All right. Well, lead on.
Okay. I'm going to follow Conrad's directions.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty easy as you go along, and then now that you know what to look for, you find you see a shop with a little outdoor section to it and a spinning wheel. It's currently not moving, but you can see clay pots set up around it, and then right across the street from it, you can see that hanging sign, almost shield shaped, with a green background and a white stag on it. And looking at it, you're like, how would anyone know? And there's underneath it, it says in common, the limping stag. It's like, how would anyone know that you're supposed to find a bed here?
Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to go in now or wait till it's dark?
I think we can go on now. I mean, it might be best to set up rooms now before anything happens. That's I don't know.
Yes, let's.
Well, I've never done anything like this before, so...
Me neither. I think we could just, dip our toes in and just go for it. It can't be that hard to say, hello, I would like to sleep here.
Well, then Hannibal, why don't you go ahead and do it?
Oh, okay. And Hannibal walks in.
Okay. Walking through the door, you come into a familiar, like the fairly familiar sight of a tap room. You've been to that tavern in back by the Enclave, so you're like, okay, yeah, I know how to handle this. And at the far end, on the standing up against a bar, you can see a bit of an older halfling woman with her hair pulled back, and you can see a couple streaks of gray running through it as she's sitting there. Looks like she's got like what looks to be some kind of like a board game type board set up in front of her, and she's just leaning there against the bar, idly just moving pieces by herself. It looks like it's fairly empty at this point. Based on where she is, she's probably standing on like a step or a step stool behind the counter.
Okay. Excuse me, old one.
Oh, you're gonna want to try that again, honey.
Sorry, I'm not used to talking to people. Hello, my name is Hannibal.
Nice to meet you, Hannibal. How can I help you?
My traveling associates and myself, we're from a carnival. We're from a traveling circus called Alistair Montgomery, the 43rd's Traveling Bonanza Circus. We come from the city of Nilbog, which is just outside of here, a couple miles. And we're just looking for a place to lay our heads.
All right, well, you came to the right place. So you need 1 room, 2, 3, how many you need?
Well, I don't like my traveling associates that much. They kind of smell. So they can share a room. I don't mind. So 2 rooms? one for the three of them, and then just one for me.
All right. So you said you guys can hear this, by the way. So like, if you want to step in and say something, you can.
Aja will nudge Drusilla and go.
What am I supposed to do?
So
Whatever
how much was those 2 rooms be?
2 rooms, it's 5 silver a piece, so that'd be a gold piece.
Hands are a gold piece.
Okay.
Four
Take
rooms, not 2, please. 4. Hi.
Oh, do you come up and say that?
Yes.
Okay. She sees. Sorry, you said 4. So you want 4 rooms and you want 2 rooms.
No. Yeah. No. Yes. No.
There's 4 of us, but I don't want to share a room with anyone.
Well, we don't want to share a room with you.
That is good. I might cut off your toes and eat some. Haha, that's a joke.
So are you all together or what?
Yes, we're the traveling circus.
Right.
We're not a traveling circus.
As you can tell from my attire, I am the ringmaster.
She leans on the counter and looks at you and says, "All right, so you want 2 more rooms?"
We would each like a separate room.
And you said there's 4 of you?
Correct.
All right, he's already paid for 2. So if you give me a gold piece, I'll get you 2 more.
This is
Done.
fucking rude.
All right. You slide the gold piece?
I do.
Okay. All right. Well, breakfast is in the morning. You'll have what I'm cooking. You just missed lunch. Dinner will be later tonight. Whatever's in the pot. Drinks cost extra. I'll show you up to your rooms. You nearly cleaned me out. So she...
Is this a gold piece per day? Is that what this is?
Yes. It's well, each room is 5 silver a night.
I see.
I don't drink alcohol.
Good for you.
She's very rude. I don't like her.
I'll be honest, you started off this conversation by calling me old one, so sorry if I didn't put on my cheeriest disposition for you.
He's very sorry.
It's a good thing I can't get gray hair.
Like a real person. I'm very sorry.
I'm not a person.
He's not a person.
Right, you want me to show you to those rooms now or later?
Yes,
No.
please.
All right, she steps down off her step stool, and as she does, you can see the top of her head barely makes it over the bar. She makes her way out from behind it. She doesn't even have to she has one of those things where you can lift up the bar. She doesn't even need to lift it up. She just ducks underneath it. And then she starts heading towards the stairs leading upstairs.
Must be very useful to be that tiny.
She pretends she didn't hear that.
So, if we were looking for work, what would we do?
Well, that depends on what kind of work you're looking for.
Kidnapping? No, we're looking for work in... I don't know.
Adventuring. Things that need doing.
Okay. Well, I know a few places you could get work. I mean, so you're some of those armed people who like to make bad decisions and make money with your weapons.
That's us. Yes.
I only make good decisions. I can't speak for the rest of my traveling circus here.
Hannibal.
Right. Well, for people like you, as she says it, she's leading you guys up the stairs. Oh, there's plenty of work to be found around here. Of course, most what attracts people is over in the walk along the river. I don't remember what it's actually called. Everyone else just calls it the bone grinder.
Very good.
Big old place. You get plenty of money in there. Hard to miss it. Right off the main street. Big old
bone grinder.
Mm-hmm. She's a big old set of stairs leading down to some doors. Kind of hard to miss. A lot of people hanging out there. A couple taverns right across the street from it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it. And please don't mind the other one. He's recently left the ocean. He's very confused about everything.
That's fair. Aside from that, I mean, people are looking for work all over the place. Usually, you probably find. You go over to Altenburg. You probably find some people need something. Those fancy types are always willing to pay for expensive ingredients or whatnot. I don't know what they do over
Expensive ingredients?
Yeah, for their magic-y stuff.
What kind of special ingredients?
I don't know. I run an inn, not a magic shop.
Well, that's very useless, isn't it?
How much about the city do you know, pal?
I know a lot about it.
Like what?
Our friend is from here.
Which district?
The one where smelly people live. I don't know, actually. He's very well dressed. He sings a lot of songs. He's a half-orc.
Never heard of him.
You might have heard of his name. His name is Veggie.
Never heard of a veggie.
No, his name's Veggie.
That's what I said, veggie.
Yeah, no,
Reggie.
Veggie.
Reggie. His name is Reggie.
Yes,
Oh, Reggie.
Veggie.
Never heard of a Reggie.
That's great. About these rooms?
Yeah, she's like leading up to the top of the. She gets to the top of the stairs and she's going and just like going down the hall as she's talking, just opening one door after another.
First door she opens, I'm in.
Okay. Yeah, she says, make your way over north of Flamehold. You might be able to find some work in Flame Shadow. A bunch of lot of traffic from out of town coming in that way.
Excellent. Is there any place we perhaps should not go?
Well, you're gonna have a hard time getting into Old Town. That's for sure. I wouldn't try that.
Why?
That's a gated community. Fancy folk live there, and they don't like you coming in without an invitation. You're all from out of town, right?
Obviously.
All right. Why don't I get yourself settled in? I'm not a fancy map maker by any means, but I'd feel irresponsible if I let you go. We'll just start walking around and to your deaths without me helping you. Why don't I draw you up a quick little map of the city, and while you get settled in,
I'll give her another gold for that.
All right, I will use my fancy ink for that one.
We appreciate any help, ma'am.
Pockets it in her apron. All right, here's your rooms. I only see 3 of you, so I don't know how you're going to sleep in 4 of them, but I don't care. I'll just take your money either way.
Excellent.
Okay. And she heads back downstairs and lets you guys go and get settled in.
I don't think we should let Hannibal talk to any more people.
I agree 100%. Oh, that's 3 interviews and 3, whatever that is. How do we stop it?
Well, we could tie like a rag around his mouth so he couldn't speak.
We could cut out his tongue.
No, he'd probably like that.
Probably would. He'd probably use it for something. I do not like this place. Too big. Too many people.
It's quite different from the forest.
Well, hopefully we can get work and find some time outside of the city. All right. Well, what should we do next?
I am going to go talk to Hannibal about this behavior and see what I can do.
Should I stay here or go with you?
I feel like I'm very not threatening to him. So
That's fair. I will I'll go find something to drink down in that common room. That's what I'll do.
Yes.
In a civilized way.
Please, I would not like to be kicked out of this place.
I won't try to cut off any of her bits, I promise.
That's all I can ask.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Don't let him chop off any of your bits either.
No
Nausea.
promises.
Turn and walk around down the steps.
Okay. Aja, when you get down, as you're going down the steps, you can see the innkeeper. She's back up on her step stool. She's pushed the board aside, and she has a piece of parchment on the table with an inkwell and a quill, and she's working on drawing out a general outline of a city map for you guys. You can see her, like, she pauses and thinks, and like starts to draw, and then thinks again, and then keeps drawing. So it looks like she's going to take a minute, but she sees you come down. How can I help you with anything? Everything all right upstairs?
Everything is fine. I just was hoping I could get a drink while my companions settle in.
Oh yeah, what do you want, honey?
Whatever you recommend.
Well, what kind of? I mean, when you're saying drink, what kind of drink are you looking for, at least?
Whatever you recommend.
Are we talking alcoholic or not? Start with that.
Sure, why not?
More like alcohol. Everything all right over there? Oh, okay. Okay, good. Interesting. Okay. All right. So, yeah, like I said, it's less like modern day wine and more like alcoholic grape juice. So it's fairly sweet, kind of has a little bit of tartness to it.
Okay.
It's good though. All right, back upstairs while you're listening and watching her work.
Yep.
Does Hannibal have the door closed?
Yes.
She's gonna just like knock like very lightly.
Mage hand opens the door.
Terrifying.
Hannibal is sitting at a table, and he's got Zagith Yankee head on the table, and he's trying to crack it open and get the brain out.
Hey, Hannibal, my darling brother. How are you?
I forgot we are siblings. Hello. I am good.
What you
I'm
doing?
trying to get this brain out so I can feed an Illithid when we find one.
Can I come in?
Sure, yes.
Do you want me to close the door after me?
Yes, please.
All right. She's gonna walk in, close the door behind her. Just. So, how are you liking the city so far?
It's awful and I don't like it. Everyone is so rude to me.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay.
So you say people are rude to you,
Yes.
but you are rude to them first.
I don't notice that.
And I'm going to help you notice it, okay?
Oh, wunderbar. This is going to be so fun.
Okay, still the attitude, but I'm trying to help you
I'm
here.
trying to crack open a brain. This is very hard and trying work.
I don't doubt that, but we seem to be planning to be in the city for a while, and it would be much appreciated from me and from Aja if you could maybe not joke about eating people as much as you do.
I don't. I just joke about eating their toes.
Well, let's stop with no.
People don't eat all their toes.
no eating toad jokes, just to start.
Fine.
Can we start with that?
Fine.
And maybe let Aja or I, or maybe even Reggie, talk to the people instead of you?
Are you saying this because of how I look? My disfigurements and mutations?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that you are so intelligent that they can't understand
That
you
makes a lot
properly.
of sense. They are very weak-minded peoples.
Yeah, and we don't want them to feel stupid.
That's
because
right, I am an intellectual prodigy.
You are 100% smarter than everyone
true.
here.
This is true.
So, are we in agreement here?
I guess.
All right, I will let you get back to your brain.
Spins around and just takes his hammer and chisel and goes into the skull as hard as he can.
Make me a dexterity check real quick.
Oh no. 5.
All right, so you take the chisel and the hammer, you just go, and the chisel just goes straight in and like embeds up to like the wide part of the chisel. Like the whole long thin part just goes straight into the skull.
Wonderful. I don't think that is what I wanted.
Well, I don't know what you wanted, actually.
I want to take the brain out and suspend it in some liquid, and then we can take the brain in this liquid and give it to a mind flayer, and then feed the mind flayer the brain and say it's one of their mortal enemies, a Gith, and then the mind flayer would be a friend, and then we go kill Grantar.
You've certainly thought quite far ahead.
Yes, I have.
Do you want some help getting that brain out?
Yes, that'd be nice. Do you know how to harvest the brains from skull cavities?
I know how to harvest animals.
Oh, it's quite similar.
All right. What do you want me to do?
You grab this side of the cranium, and I'll grab this side of the cranium, and we'll both pull very hard.
All right.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys to make a survival check. One of you to make a survival check with advantage, because
All right.
the other is eating.
Okay. With advantage?
Mm-hmm.
One of us or both?
Just one.
16 plus... 16 plus -1, 15.
Okay.
Maybe
So
Drusilla should have done it.
Probably. What's your bonus to survival?
-1.
I'm in Drusilla.
Oh,
5.
Wow.
shit.
So you make good progress on it is the thing. Like Drusilla, Hannibal, you're trying to do all kinds of stuff with you have this idea of let's like pull it apart and yank at it and stab at it and like crack it like a walnut. And Drusilla, you're just like no, that's not no. So like you have a much more methodical practice to it. It's a little weird because like the practices that you would go through and use for this involve like basically skinning it first and everything, but like when it's an animal that's one thing, when it's a face that's another. But eventually you guys do manage over time to get it open and then just gradually cut around and get like the top of the skull off. You have to work around a bit in the front where Hannibal just drove a chisel straight through it and kind of cracked and shattered it a little in the front, and then there's just a puncture wound into the brain. But yeah, you managed to get it off, and then you just kind of shake it around to loosen it up, and just so there's places you have to cut to detach it from some things, and then it just kind of lands on the table like a Jello mold.
I just realized I don't have a big enough jaw to put this in.
That might be a problem.
Hold on, I think I have something here. It won't fit in a Vata skin. I don't think so. I didn't think too far ahead with this, I guess. I do have this glass bottle of unidentified slime. It doesn't say how big it is, though.
When did you get the unidentified slime?
It's part of the Simic scientist background.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't say how big it is.
Got it. Okay.
Well, how would you rule how big it is?
I'd probably, if it's a bottle, probably like, you know.
Yeah,
like
not too big.
Yeah, not too big.
So I didn't think of this too far ahead.
Does it have to be in one piece?
I think it might be best. I run over to the bed and I take up. Is there like, are the pillows in pillowcases?
Kind of. It's more just like not really. It's kind of just like a big like canvas bag stuffed with some kind of stuffing, and the bed is definitely stuffed with straw.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think about this too much. I don't know if I put the brain. I put the entire brain in the bag of holding.
Okay, so you just stick it in there, and then you've just got like the severed head with the top of it missing, and some skin bits and fluids just kind of across your table.
I need to hide these. I don't want to keep some. I take like, I scoop up like all the shattered skull bits and I just cram them under the mattress.
Okay. And then what about the head?
Bag of holding.
Okay, so you just put the empty head in the bag of holding. All right. Still like some fluids and stuff on the table.
You might not want to watch this, Drusilla, and I lick up some of the fluid.
The brain fluid and dry and like congealed blood.
Fate, was that just did I just do cannibalism?
Like half. Maybe.
Oh, it's half cannibalism's okay.
I don't know. Can you be a half cannibal?
I think so. That's okay. It's not going to have any repercussions, I don't think. It's not like I'm going to get prions or anything. There we go.
There we go. Up, and we're up.
I think we're back. It's been in my bag for, I think, I don't know, a week? 2 weeks? A year?
So to be fair, bag of holding I was mentioning it says it only has like 10 minutes worth of air in it. So it's almost like vacuum packed. Like it's, not really much air around it.
No.
So yeah, it probably is pretty good at preserving things actually.
Fantastic.
Good to know.
Not great, but better than nothing.
So, thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
You can leave me now.
Got it. And Drusilla will go find Aja if she's still at the bar.
Okay, yeah. After the amount of time it takes you to get the skull open, Aja, the innkeeper, has probably finished making the map for you. And you've been listening to her mutter about it and talk while under her breath. So first of all, you can find it on Discord. It's processing. There it goes. And then...
Oh, cool.
For those of you in the audience, I just posted a link to it in chat, so you can see it as well. So that is more or less what she draws up. You basically get through her muttering, and she's happy to talk about it as well. She's happy to kind of go through descriptions, vague descriptions of the different sections with you. So kind of going left to right, you've got Flamehold, which is she mentions that's like where the Grand Temple of the Silver Flame is, whatever that is. Flame Shadow, which is the area just under, kind of in the shadow of the hill, is kind of the foreign quarter, where people from visitors and merchants from out, who come in by sea, and just also immigrants tend to stay. The Barricades in the north is the entertainment district. The ruts on the northern side of the river to the east is that section of town that you guys saw across the river when you got lost, and that appears to be the poorer side of town. Bakir's Walk, or just the Walk as it's known, is pretty much the riverfront district, and that's where she indicated that whatever the bone grinder is tends to be. That's also where religious pilgrims pass through on their way to Flamehold. Silvergate is the region that you started in, and that is that has the main land gate that leads into the city. It's like the main avenue of traffic into the city, as well as being the sort of mercantile district where like farmers and craftsmen come in to apply their wares. Port side is more like is the harbor district. Flame Shadow also has a harbor. That's more of a passenger harbor. Port side is more of like a cargo harbor. Midtown is sort of just like the place for locals, where it's just it's the oldest, like one of the most central parts of town, and pretty much just like where it's almost like a miniature city within itself. Elterberg is the university district, where you can find the university as well as a lot of businesses that cater to university studies. Like it's going to have a large number of like glass blowers and bookbinders, far more than the rest of the city. And then Old Town, despite not at all being the oldest part of town, is where the rich people live, and that is a completely separate, walled-off, gated section of town. And that's generally the overview you get from her as she's putting this together for you. And then Drusilla, you come downstairs just about as innkeeper is handing this map over, sliding this map over to Aja.
I'll thank her very much for it, and compliment her on the wine.
Glad you liked it.
Drusilla, how did it go?
Well, he agreed to not make any more toe-eating jokes. So I think it went pretty good.
You've got all of your parts?
I think so.
Does Hannibal have all of his?
Yeah.
Oh, better than I thought it would.
I think we really bonded, him and I, today.
Oh, that's vaguely unsettling, but great. Good. I've got a map.
Yeah. Good job.
I mean, I didn't make the map. I got the map, but this nice lady drew it for me.
Is she still around?
She's just sitting on the other side of the bar.
I'll go back over to her with the map, and I'll ask her the bone grinder place. Where was that again?
That was in the Walk, Riverfront District, northern side of the river. Northern side of the river.
Got it. Well, I think we should perhaps corral Hannibal and go see about work.
About how much day do we have left?
Probably coming up on, it's mid-afternoon at this point, so you've got a little bit of day left. You might have you're not sure if you'd have time to actually like do anything, but you'd certainly have time to go like scout it out and see what this find what you're looking for.
All right, I will be back with Hannibal. Gonna run back upstairs and again knock on the door until he opens.
Mage hand.
Hey Hannibal, we're
Hello.
going to the bone grinder.
Oh, that sounds not ominous whatsoever.
Do you want to come with us?
Of course, it sounds ominous.
Oh, let's go.
All right. Hannibal gets up, wipes whatever brain gunk he can off his tortoiseshell glasses, and walks out the door of his little room.
Okay. Yeah, you guys, you can meet up in the tap room of the inn.
Excuse me, owner, barkeep.
Yes.
The one I called Old One.
Yeah.
I would like to apologize for calling you Old One. I am not too well versed in the communications of peoples.
All right, well, apology accepted.
Here's 5 gold pieces for the trouble.
Apology very much accepted.
And for the mess in my room.
Well, what mess?
I accidentally made a mess. I can give you more gold pieces if that would make up the debt for the mess I made.
Yeah, I think that would help.
Here's 5 more gold pieces. So 10 gold pieces.
She scoops those off the counter into her apron. She's like, "Yeah, that'll definitely help. Yeah."
That may or may not be stuff shoved under the mattress.
So you see her just stare into space for a second, and then look down at the 10 gold piece. No, 50. How much gold did you just give her?
I gave her 10 gold pieces.
Okay, yeah, the 10 golds that she just scooped into her apron pocket, and then it's just, well, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it.
No one got murdered in there. That's all I'm saying.
That's an encouraging thing to hear.
I'm a alchemist. I was just working with materials is all.
Sorry, what was that, dear? She says over to Drusilla.
She's trying to drag Hannibal out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, bye.
All right, you guys are out into the streets of Pyre.
I think that went well. I think my apology went very well.
Yes, it did. I think she accepted it, and then you kind of took it a bit too far.
Oh,
but we'll work on it.
Should I not have given her the gold? I can go take it back if that was.
No. Just let it be.
Was it mentioning the stuff under the mattress?
That's where we kind of took off and went in the bad direction.
Well, it's only bits of skull. It can't be that bad.
But we didn't need to mention it.
I think it's nice to mention it, so it's not a surprise.
You gave her 10 gold. I don't think she would have been surprised that there was skull bits under the mattress. Disappointed? Maybe.
I shall note this down for future reference.
Thank you.
Don't shove bits of living, organic matter in your mattress.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Okay, so we're going to this bone grinder?
Right, Aja? Bone grinder?
I think so. That's what she said.
So, does any of us have a map or something, a way to get there?
I do. I know how to get there. Well, sort of.
Oh, wonderful. It just leads the way then, Aja.
Right, leading the way. Finds the door. And goes.
Yeah, you can pretty easily find your way back to that main street that seemed to lead through town, and you follow your way along it. It leads out of the. Excuse me. It leads out of the Silvergate district across a bridge, and you get starts running pretty much parallel to the northern side of the river, and you get the sense that you are in the section known as labeled as Bakir's Walk, or as other people seem to have just been calling it, the Walk. And as you're making your way along, eventually you come to, you pretty much have buildings lining the street on your right. The left side is pretty much just the riverfront, but on with smaller buildings and like riverboat docks and things like that, and places to fish. But fairly sparsely populated, mostly a wall of buildings on your right. And then eventually, though, you come to a place where it sort of opens up into what appears to be a very large square on your right. And you can see a like almost sandstone colored set of like double curved stairs that go up to the top, and in between them, you can see what appears to be a set of steps that heads down into the ground, and you can see all sorts of like businesses and people milling about this square.
So
find a person who's milling.
Okay. You enter into this area. It's it's a right turn off the main road, and you can see what appears to be a fairly eclectic set of businesses around here. You can see some blacksmiths. You can see what looks to be a couple of healers. You can see one that appears to be advertising like a bathhouse, like sauna and just warm baths. All kinds of strange and eclectic things, but all stuff that kind of appeals to the things that you would like a lot of it is things you would find useful. It's like, oh, that's where I can go to get armor and weapons. Oh, that's where I can go to get like some basics like supplies. Like, oh, that's where like it seems to be a section that caters to adventurer types. And then again, you see those. It's sort of like a wall that's sort of like almost like a cave, like a carved out, very well made cave that sort of descends down underground. You can see people making their way around. And you said you went and grabbed someone?
Mm-hmm.
All right, you find someone making his way across in full plate mail with a long sword to his side. He's got his hand rested on the pommel as he walks over and, yes, how can I help you?
Excuse me, we're looking for the bone grinder.
Well, you've come to the right place. Bone grinder is right down there, and he gestures towards the stairs that descend downwards.
Excellent, thank you.
Are you going to try your luck?
We're looking for work. I don't know how much luck we need.
How much do you know about why you're here?
Aja will pause. That's a pretty big question to unpack for her. We're here looking for work.
All right. What kind of work?
She'll pat her glaive, the kind where this works.
Yeah, the bone grinder is definitely a place to be then.
Good.
Well,
Thanks.
I think you can meet up with the attendants over there and just head on in. He gestures over.
Why do we need to be lucky?
Well, anytime he like you've got your glaive on your back, right? He leans over and just kind of like flicks the blade so it makes that metallic ringing noise. Anytime you need one of those, I feel like luck is generally nice to have on your side.
We're gonna die.
I'll take my leave.
Okay.
I'll point to where it is to my companions and continue walking.
Okay.
So how did that go?
Well, it's over here, so it must have gone fine. You'll see that he has all of his parts. I have all of mine. No one's upset at anyone.
Why do people keep talking about pots?
Couldn't imagine, Hannibal. Couldn't imagine.
All right, so
Well,
to is this bone grinder?
Right. Moving on.
All right. So you head over and you make your way down these steps till you're a little bit underground, and then you can see what appears to be a set of two metal, almost cage-like doors that look like they slide, and they're currently closed, and behind them you just see darkness. And there's a couple of people standing on either side of them wearing fairly unused armor and with halberds at their side. With halberds with like a hook set into the bottom of them.
All right, so this doesn't look good. Drusilla, could you like turn into a little mouse or something and like go check it out?
What do you mean it doesn't look good? It looks fine.
Then go say hello.
Oh, all right. And I will.
Okay. Yeah, you walk over, you see this dude. They've got like those almost like bowl-shaped helmets with like a point on the top of them, wearing a cuirass and holding a halberd as they stand there at attention. And then a man and a woman. What? Sorry?
Is this the bone grinder? Aja will say.
That's what people call it, yeah, says the woman.
In the door? Where is that?
It's right through here, but you're gonna have to wait for the next. And you hear, as she's saying this, there's as you're closer up now, you can see there's like a rope. There's a series of ropes that descend, and one in particular attached to like a wheel with a bell on it. And as she's talking, she's interrupted as it kind of turns and rotates as the rope below is pulled, and then the bell just goes ding, 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 ding. And then a second later, you hear sounds from up above you, and you can see mechanisms start working, and the ropes start to pull, and you can hear just like a sound kind of slowly echoing up from below you. It sounds like, as you're closer, you see it looks like there's past these gates just a sheer drop off. And she says, "Oh, well, you're in luck. You'll have a way down in just a minute here."
Excellent. Thank you.
We're going to die.
Oh, it'll be fine. Don't be such a baby.
I agree with Hannibal here.
I have this feeling, this very foreboding feeling that the bone grinder is like some sort of, I don't know, area where people fight each other and punch each other in the faces.
That doesn't sound like work. We asked for work. This is where we were told to go. It'll be fine.
If any of you die, I'll keep your pots and make sure they get use.
Thank you for that, Hannibal. That's most kind.
All right. And a minute later, you see the ropes working their way down this drop-off, keep working, and then you see what appears to be basically just an elevator rise up, hold up by ropes, and when it gets up top, you hear it stop with a and then the two guards take their halberds and using the hooked bottom of them, basically just hook them onto the cage doors and pull, opening them up, and you see a group of armed and armored individuals come out looking. There's about 5 of them. They're looking a little beat up, a little worn, a little injured, some dried blood running down the face. But one of them comes out holding a red-bladed sword with a golden hilt to it, looking up at it like almost awestruck. And as he steps out, you can see other people come running up from outside as they were slowly beginning to gather. And they kind of gather in a small semicircle as they come out, and he walks past you guys to them. He's like, "Are you all ready for this?" And then you see him like whisper something under his breath, and the entire blade of the sword just ignites, and flames just shoot up the blade. And then he just starts swinging it around.
I need it.
Clearly knows what he's doing, but starts swinging it around. The flames just kind of trail behind it. And then he holds it out and then whispers something else. And then the flames go out. He's like, "I'd say we did pretty good. Drinks are on me." And then everyone cheers. "Ah!" And then they start heading out towards one of the taverns nearby.
That doesn't look like how you get work, guys. I think you might be right.
I think I am right, but I want that sword. I want it.
No, not that one.
Excuse me, sir, person.
Yeah.
How much do you want for your sword?
Oh, the guy. Oh, that guy. You're gonna buy it?
No, I'm just curious how attached to it you are.
Well, I just got it, so fairly. I don't think I'm gonna find a better one at a blacksmith shop. That's for sure. Everyone around him starts laughing.
How did you get it?
The bone grinder, of course.
Is a bone grinder some sort of like fighting pit?
You can see he kind of looks around to everybody around him, and then they all are like, kind of like, wait, what? Do they not know? And then
we're sorry for the questions. We're a traveling circus from Nilbog.
And then a voice pipes up from the crowd and just says, "Why don't you all go on ahead, and I'll explain to these newcomers exactly what they're getting themselves into."
I'm a master of discussion.
And they all nod and head off, and then you see a sort of hunched middle-aged man with like a scruff of a beard and kind of longer hair, in just kind of like a long leather coat with lots of pockets, shuffle his way forward and to say, "So, am I to understand that you are new in town?"
Yes.
Well, He comes up and just overly familiar puts a hand on Hannibal's shoulder.
Don't touch me.
Oh, all right. Particular, all right. Well, this right here, this fine establishment is called Bone Grinder, and is a testing ground of heroes and adventurer types alike, which, based on your plethora of weapons, I can assume you are.
We were told this is where we could get work.
Yes, that's what we were told.
Well, if by work you mean risking life and limb in exchange for coin and other great rewards, then by that definition, you are not misled.
Limbs, you say?
Well, isn't that always a risk anytime weapons are drawn?
I guess. So, what is your policy about collecting limbs of the people that are felled in the bone grinder?
Well, he points into the elevator, and actually there's like a wooden sign on the back, kind of nailed up, and like looks like there's some things carved into it. And then it says, well, right here we have the rules. There's not many of them. Number one, anything found in the bone grinder belongs to the one that finds it, regardless of whether or not it was lost.
So I could take a leg, and the leg would be mine.
I suppose technically.
See, Aja, this place is wonderful. Why aren't we going down there right now?
A moment. So when I said work, I thought we meant like someone would need something done, we would go somewhere and do it, and then someone would give us money for having done it. That's not what this sounds like.
It is not, no.
So what is this?
This is a very strange and wondrous place where you can test your strength against a constantly shifting and moving environment that, provides you a reward in exchange for challenge. No one really knows why it's here. Or how it can come out with a tidy sum of gold and perhaps a sword that produces fire.
What if we wanted to do the work that I described?
Well, I happen to be one such person that employs people that you happen to have described.
Oh, well, good. Is this a good place to talk? Or? I'm Aja. This is Drusilla, and the short one with the limb fetish is Hannibal.
Hannibal's like 6'7". Oh, that's it.
Drusilla's a short one.
Limb fetish is Hannibal.
Aja, Drusilla, and Hannibal. Very nice to meet you. My name is Lucas Gislaine.
Of course it is.
And so should I take your meaning as to say that you are not interested in trying your luck with our illustrious bone grinder?
Not at the moment.
Oh, well, your loss tends to be very profitable.
I think we need to get out and about to do what we need to do.
Well, I'll tell you, it is a good way, to be honest, to get yourselves established as adventurer types in this city, to have at least one run into the bone grinder under your belt.
See, it's almost like we're meant to do this. Like we have to do this almost.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Otherwise, if you would like to accompany back to my office, I would happily take you there. I just noticed that it seems like as your friend is interested, I would hate to dissuade you from doing something you would otherwise like to do.
You said you had work of the kind that I described?
Oh, I could certainly find some things for you to do, yes.
Hannibal, how about we find out what our options are, and then we can decide if we wish to take a trip through this bone grinder or perhaps pursue some of this other work.
Possibly.
It'll be here.
I guess.
Okay. Drusilla? that work for you?
Is she frozen? I can't tell.
I think she's frozen.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, there she goes. Hello.
So sorry, you guys.
I just thought you were sitting really still.
So we were discussing hearing what work this gentleman has in addition to his enthusiasm for the bone grinder, if that's agreeable to you.
Justin is real quick rearranging our windows. I just noticed that Michael was the dungeon master, and then Drew, and then we just mixed around. There we go.
So we do this Lucas man. We do his bidding.
Well, why don't we go find out what kind of work he's offering and how the bone grinder works, and then we can make a decision.
Sounds good to me, I guess.
All right. Well, in that case, please follow me. My accommodations are not far from here. All right. He leads you back out of the Bone Grinder Plaza, where you can see that other group heading into one of the several taverns that are in this area. It looks like there are quite a few. But he leads you out and down the street a little ways, where it seems like this part of the street is kind of built up higher away from like the water level of the riverfront. And then he leads you down like a set of stairs that turns back and goes into almost like a section underneath the street. Almost like for this part, there's like an upper and lower street. You can kind of see sunlight coming in through grates, but otherwise it's fairly dim down here. And then, and you can see, seems to be a place where there's some people taking shelter from the sun. A couple people just like sleeping up against an archway down here. You can see even a group of guys like crouched down against a wall. You can see the glimmer of coins on the ground as they lay out cards in the dirt. He turns and there's like a little side passage that looks like it leads back underneath the street. And he says, now I understand that leading a person down an unfamiliar street and into a tunnel in a place where you are not familiar may seem threatening. So in whatever way I can do to make you comfortable, to assure you that I am not attempting to ambush otherwise rob you or harm you, I would like to do, just to make sure you are comfortable.
Phil, we kind of outnumber you.
All right, I like that. Come on then. And it leads you further in. It's a shorter, it's a narrower tunnel, about 5 feet wide, arched at the top. It leads you in. It's kind of like a little damp, a little like this may have at one point been a sewer, but long since detached from any sewer system, so it doesn't smell, but just kind of has that mildewy scent to it. And it does.
Sorry.
And it's lit by just those grates up above. Seems like maybe street runoff, like water runoff from rain or something, does come through here to run out to the river. But then he turns down a slight side passage, and you can see a much nicer, thick, heavy wooden door banded with iron. And he takes a key out of his pocket and turns it. You can see he's kind of blocking it with his body. You hear the key turn in the lock and like this like of it turning, but then you hear a couple other sort of small metallic mechanical things happening. You're not sure what he's doing, but then he retracts the key, steps back, and then swings the door inward. And you can see that it leads into a little bit more open area where appears to be, basically for the most part, an office setup. Kind of you see like a desk, some bookshelves, a couple of couches and chairs. And he walks in, steps up onto a slight wooden platform where the desk is, and has a seat in the chair.
Can I make an insight check about that ambush business?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
15?
Yeah. You get the impression that he was genuine about that. He seems to be the kind of person that he was just trying to preempt any suspicions. You're like, basically like, I get this is a suspicious situation. I would like you to be comfortable. I don't want this to see, like, I want to preempt any suspicions you might have and just do whatever it takes to make you most comfortable. I don't have anything to hide is basically kind of what he was going for. And that is what the impression you got from your insight check as well. He goes back and he sits back in his chair and kicks his feet up on the desk and he says, so, I understand you are looking for work. Please come in. Well, I am what you would call a well-connected individual. I could not necessarily quantify my job description into one thing or another. I just have a lot of fingers and a lot of pies, so I dabble in a little bit of everything. So perhaps if we discussed your experience and your talents, we could find something that would make both of us money and make best use of your experience.
All right.
I am very good at making alchemical concoctions and other things, magic things.
All right, okay.
We've had a long time working together as a group, and we are proficient.
All right, proficient. I like proficient. And you, ma'am?
I'm good at scouting.
Scouting. All right. Now, you said alchemical and magical. That does catch my ear. That is a bit of a rarer talent to find, especially...
Yeah, I can show you an example if you'd like.
Oh, please, I would absolutely love that.
Take out the light hammer, the returning light hammer, and do you have anything anyhow? I can fix anything I break. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, well, in that case, man, and he goes and he finds just, he gets like a glass, like a drinking glass, and what would you like to do with it?
Just put it on a table or something.
Yeah, he sets it. There's like a backless stool that he steps up and he pulls it out and he sets the glass on top of it and he steps back.
I take the light hammer and I throw it at the glass.
Okay, you don't really need to roll, so it just flies out, shatters the glass as it hits it,
and then it would come back to me.
Oh yeah, so it hits it just as it passes it. It just stops in midair, just and flies back into your hand.
I enchanted this hammer to do that.
Well, that is very impressive. Very, very impressive. And in the realm of using that hammer, how proficient are you?
Quite proficient. I tend to turn it into a crackling hammer of electricity and kill things with it.
Fantastic. All right. So, in that case, I believe I have something that perhaps you could benefit from. There is a student at the university who has contacted me with a bit of sensitive information that he needs some help with some things, and perhaps I think you are the people that could do it. I'm a broker of kinds. I don't do these jobs necessarily, but I just connect the people that need things done with the people who like doing them.
Oh, one other thing that may be worth mentioning before we go further.
Oh, yes, of course.
We are not interested, and we'll glare at Hannibal, in doing things which are illegal or would get us in trouble.
That is very good to know. This is just a bit of a sensitive matter. It is not by any means illegal.
Very well.
It does involve some measure of risk, though, from what I understand.
Go on.
Well, there is a student at the university, an older student, not a young child, one of the more advanced students, an apprentice, you might say, to one of the professors. The professor in question is out of town, and, well, the student, I believe, he did not go into all the details, and I, being a simple man, did not understand all of them, even if he did, but I believe what he mentioned was through an attempted experiment, one or another, using his professor's personal home laboratory for greater materials, whatever reason he had, he may have caused a mishap and has now, has a bit of a pest problem in his master's house.
A
And
laboratory?
Indeed, yes. And he would absolutely love it if someone could come in and remove said pest problem before his professor returns from his trip.
Well, we gladly accept. I need to see this laboratory. I mean, I gladly accept. I don't speak for my friends, but I gladly accept.
How much does it pay?
Well, payment. Well, I'm sure you could negotiate, but the fee that he discussed with myself was 600 gold pieces in total. Now that is after, of course, my modest finder's fee.
Which is what?
Oh, that is after, of course. My finder's fee. You don't need to worry about that. Is between me and my client. You will be receiving your 600 gold pieces in full.
You said there was a measure of risk. Is that the pests, or is there some other risk?
I believe that is the pests, yes. He would be able to tell you more about the issue in particular.
What do you think, guys?
Yes, we do it now. I need to see this laboratory.
Drusilla?
I wouldn't feel comfortable going without all of the party.
We should try to perhaps find Reggie before we embark.
Yes. When is this professor expected back?
Oh, I believe he mentioned the end of the week, so you have quite a bit of time.
Well, perhaps we could find Reggie, and I'm agreeable to the task.
If it's just a pest problem, I don't think we need everyone to take part.
Well, you might understand that when I say pest, I mean the kind of thing that would be worth paying upwards of 600 gold for the removal of when a singular wizard was not capable of taking care of it.
We are not singular wizard.
Oh, I understand that as well. I just wanted to make sure that you understand the dangers involved. I do believe it is quite a considerable pest. If I don't miss my guess.
I don't want to stay here for more. I don't want to stay here for more than a week.
Well, I'm sure Reggie will be along very soon, and perhaps then we can discuss it with him and make arrangements to meet this wizard.
Oh yes, so as long as you complete this job before the week is up, then you will receive your money.
Mr. G did say that Reggie would be along quickly, so perhaps we could give that a little bit of time. And
I guess.
Very well. Do we need to do anything else?
Not for me. Did you have any other questions about anything? I understand you mentioned you were new in town, so if I could help you with anything at all.
Where do we find this wizard?
He would be south in the University District in Elterberg, and I would be more than happy if you would just contact me. I could arrange for a meeting with him. You understand that he doesn't like to just give out his name to anybody. Given the sensitive nature of this, it could be used against him.
Of course. Perhaps you could set up a meeting in, say, a day?
A day. I will do that. Do you have a place to stay so I might know where to find you so I could give you the information and perhaps tell you where this meeting will be?
Beam, we do have a place to stay.
I think we're staying at the Silver Stag.
The Limping Stag.
The Limping Stag. I don't know why I said it was silver.
Limping Stag.
Oh,
And
Limping Stag. There's a very nice old lady there who's not old. Don't call her old.
I would never dream of it. Which there are so many inns in town. Could you just at least help me know which district and perhaps the section of the district?
Aja will pull out her map and point to the Silver Gate. Is that where we went?
Yep.
I'll point to that and say there and beam at him.
Aye, fine place to stay, I see. All right, so it's the Limping Stag and Northern Silvergate. I would be happy to provide you with this message. So, at any time whenever I'm ready, you will find the information of where to meet this hapless student who has found himself in such a pickle.
Yes. Good.
All right. Is there anything else you might need from me before I see you on your way?
Is there do you know of any location I could buy alchemical ingredients?
Oh, certainly. If dear loved one of yours were to go in and perish whilst holding a magical sword of flaming, then it is completely fair game should that sword end up in the hands of another individual that it now belongs to the one that found it, not anyone that may have lost it. And what happens to the bodies? Well, from what we can tell, the rooms change and shift, and there is a large mechanical mechanism that keeps it all moving. And we can only assume that the bodies left behind get caught in the gears, so to speak, hence the name.
Intriguing.
So, great danger, greater rewards. And from what I understand, always a way out. I believe that the rooms themselves, it always seems like the exit is right behind you. I don't know what that means exactly, but like I said, I've never been in there myself.
Why not?
Well, like I said, I am not the kind of person that engages in daring do, so to speak. I prefer to facilitate. I like the comfort of my office here.
Yes. Very well. Thank you for the information.
Of course. And thank you for providing potentially a aid for my new client.
We will find our colleague who's coming soon, and we'll be in touch.
Fantastic. I look forward to speaking with you again. May this be the beginning of a long and prosperous friendship.
Wunderbar.
Yeah. Thanks.
Now, may I ask, do you have excuse my curiosity, but do you have plans for the rest of your evening?
I'll look at the other two and
Of buying alchemical ingredients.
A noble endeavor. Sorry, what?
I have no plans. Drusilla?
I don't know. I would like to speak to you, sir, without my teammates here, if that can be arranged.
Oh, certainly it can, yes.
Of course. Would you like us to give you a moment, Drusilla?
If you all are done with him, then yes, please.
Any other business with us, sir?
No, I just wish to mention, if you are new in town, I would be remiss not to mention that you may have noticed festivities as you came into town today.
Mm-hmm.
You may not be aware, but those festivities have most likely by this point reached their zenith, so to speak, up at the Grand Temple, at which point a feast or festival of kinds has most likely broken out. And if you would like some fine food and celebration, that would be a place to find it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
We'll be waiting outside, Drusilla.
Thank you.
Turn to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get another good look at the room. He's got like bookshelves with like books, but mostly also like baubles and a bunch of just little trinkets and things around. Just very populated room. There's a pair of suits of armor standing on like armor stands on the walls, the same side of the door. There's one entire sitting area off to one side. The room itself seems to be like, again, like a section of an old sewer, but it's been but it looks like he's taken it. The location itself and what he has filled it with seem completely at odds.
Okay.
But you guys on your way, you guys can head out, and then that's perfect timing because it'll just be then Drusilla and Mr. Ghislaine.
All right. How much do you know of the land outside the city?
I would say a fair amount. I like to think of myself as a well-traveled individual.
I'm looking for a place and a person. And I was wondering if you could help me or know of someone who could.
A place and a person. Well, if you would like to become a client of mine, I am sure I could find someone to help find this place and person for you.
I don't have much to pay someone and your fee. So I was wondering if you would know of a forest that druids like myself would be around.
I know of a few forests that druids like to frequent. Could you perhaps give me more details?
I don't know much about the forest myself.
Anything you could remember about it? A name, perhaps?
Kaylin.
Is that the person or the forest?
That's the person that I'm looking for.
All right. And this person lives in a forest.
Yes.
That may make them difficult to find if you cannot give me more details about the forest, I'm afraid.
I understand. Would there be anything that I would remember about the forest I could give him?
I think you actually did have the name of the forest.
Did, but I don't know if Drusilla herself would know it.
You would, let's see. You would know, actually, one of the things you would remember is that there was a fairly large population nearby, at least, of Firbolg and Goliath.
Okay. Then I would pass that information on to him.
Okay. He says, oh, now that does help. That is helpful. Main one I'm thinking about is the Green Sea. That's across the ocean, and lots of druids over there. But Firbolgs and Goliath seems to indicate to me somewhere near the region of Kulam Yar, which there's a forest over there that is actually fairly nearby. It's just to the southeast of here.
To the southeast. And has there been any destruction there, like a fire or anything recently within the last 2 years?
Within the last 2 years? Nothing I've heard about, no. It is a large forest, and naturally occurring forest fires do occur, but I have not heard any news of any great and vast devastation.
Well, that is great news for me. Thank you. I do thank you for your help and for your information, and she'll slide him 15 gold.
Why, thank you very much.
I look forward to working with you.
And with you as well.
And then she'll leave.
All right. Have a lovely evening, and please pass my regards on to your friends.
Certainly.
Okay, you can close the door behind you and exit.
So, what are we doing for the evening, you guys?
I think I was just going to a alchemist shop to get alchemical ingredients, and then I was just gonna go to bed.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry.
There you
I was hoping.
I'll get those later. Yeah, sorry, but this storm is and everything is keeps knocking out my power for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any interest in going to the festival with us?
That could be fine. Yes.
There may be tasty bits to eat.
That is true. There could be lots of tasty bits.
All right. Well, let us go. Perhaps we can find Reggie as well.
Wunderbar.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys can exit. You make your way back along these sort of under streets. You find a set of stairs that leads you back up onto the main street. And from what he said, it was up in the Flamehold district, which is the big giant hill that slopes steeply up to and comes to the point of that giant palace right on the cliff overlooking like the mouth of the river and the ocean. And it's not hard. Looks like the main street that's been leading since the main gates. As you're heading in that direction, you notice that it's pretty much just this street leads exactly up to the palace. It pretty much seems like one street from the main eastern gate all the way through town up to the palace. Like this is the main thoroughfare. And you pass through the rest of the riverfront district and eventually begin making your way up. And it starts to wind sort of side to side, just so you can. It starts to wind like side to side, just so it's not too steep. And eventually, you make your way up into what appears to be the main like front courtyard of a castle. You can see where there were walls that sort of surrounded it, but it looks like a long time ago they've been knocked down. You can kind of see the bases of their foundation still laid into the ground, almost like a path in a way. You can see the base of where the walls used to be and sunk down into the ground, but they are now just laid flat and ground level and worn smooth with just lots and lots of foot traffic. And as you arrive up here at the very top, you can see this huge palace up in front of you, and which is strange because they said this is where the Grand Temple was, but this, for the most part, looks to be a very opulent palace, but without much of the defenses that you would expect from like a castle. Like the walls have been taken down. There's not really much in the way of guards, but the view from up here is magnificent. As you turn around from the road and look down, you can see down all over the entire city. You can see the road, the river as it forks. You can see boats coming into dock in the harbor on the ocean. You can see smaller ones moving, fishing boats moving up and down the river. And you can just see this entire massive city laid out in front of you. And behind you in this open courtyard, there's just tables and chairs laid out, and there's food covering all of them, and people laughing and singing and dancing and just celebrating and having a good time. And it looks like you see other people make their way up and just come in and just get welcomed in and found a spot at a table.
Well, shall we?
I guess so.
Excellent. Well, let's go.
All right. You can make your way over you can make your way in, and it looks like there's a lot of people up here, like hundreds, if not thousands of people packed in this area. And you can see, it looks like as more people are arriving, you can see like building off to one side. Looks like it might be someone's home. Someone in what looks to be white robes trimmed with gold. Strikes you as priest's vestments, holding the door open as just some townsfolk are carrying looks like a dining room table sideways out the front door, and they come in. And other people come out with chairs, and they just start setting it down and adding more furniture to it. And then other people come out from their homes and start laying food onto it. It looks like almost like just a potluck festival of people just like bringing their own furniture out into the streets to celebrate. And up practically at the seat, or at the base of the steps that lead up to the main doors of the palace, you can see a younger woman sitting at the head of a table, and you can see the small group of people gathered coming up and like what looks to be offering some sort of like praise or congratulations onto her and shaking her hand before turning and leaving.
So, what do we do?
Are other people armed here?
Yeah, there are some people that are armed, yeah.
Okay.
And you're not getting any weird looks from like because of your weapons.
Okay. I guess there's a word for this, where you go and talk to people and have fun.
Partake?
Yes, partake. We should partake.
All right. You guys can go and find your way in. If you eventually manage to find your way to some 3 open seats at a table, and it looks like everyone's just this one's just set up like there's not even chairs, it's just like a bench set up across. But there's just food laid out feast style, like anything you want. You can see people just like walking over and reaching over each other to grab food from somewhere else if they want it, and serving themselves on plates. And it seems to be just fairly open and communal, and very, very counter to a lot of what you experienced in the Gith Enclave. You just immediately get this great sense of community and sharing and just openness up here in this moment.
I think we're definitely the bad guys.
Well, we should get some food.
Yes, that seems like a good idea.
All right, yeah, you guys can go and sit down and you can find some plates. You can sit down. You can start loading them up. The food is very good. It's kind of that. It's not super fancy or anything. It's got that home cooked kind of quality to it, of just like people bringing out. You know, there are like entire roast fowl, like chickens and goose and things like that people have brought out. But for the most part, everything else, all like the side dishes and things. There's a bunch of fresh baked bread, and you can see people like bringing over carts or like hand carts of fresh loaves of bread that they're just cranking out somewhere down the street. Yeah, you can sit down, you can just start digging in and eating the food, and it is very, very good. It's not quite the level of very fancy, heavily spiced food that you're used to from the Enclave, but it is got that very, rib sticking soul food kind of quality to it. And Aja, as you're sitting down, one thing that catches your eye is over by the sort of head table where you saw that woman kind of receiving her, like all the people going over to speak to that one woman. You see standing to her side is what appears to be a full-blooded orcish woman in silver armor with a white cloak, with an etched, emblazoned symbol of a flame on the chest plate. And she's standing there behind the woman and keeps just kind of looking down with approving and proud smiles. But you have not seen a full-blooded orc in quite some time.
Do I recognize the symbol at all?
It's not familiar to you, but it is. You do see it. It's not familiar to you from your past. You did see it actually several times in the iconography of pretty much everything leading up to this, like in this district.
And I haven't seen many other orcs here at all, or any?
You've seen mostly, if you've seen anyone with orcish blood, it's been half orcs primarily. Also, in addition, I forgot to mention, I probably should, there are there's a good number of like what appears to be like soldiers or guards around wearing very uniform armor that appears to mostly be it's kind of like plate mail, but it appears to be made mostly from like wood and leathers and scale more so than like plate. But it's kind of arranged in plate designs, and all of them have like painted on the front chest plate for theirs, because it doesn't like etch very well, but painted in silver paint. You can see that same flame insignia, and for the most part, every single one of them appears to be a hobgoblin.
What? Huh. And do I have, I guess, enough worldly experience to recognize like the incongruity of this?
You do actually, yeah. In the region you're from, in the mountains where you grew up, you would have definitely heard tales and just news and history, mostly like at the time, current event news of hobgoblin. You were actually very near an area ravaged by a goblin and hobgoblin horde run by hobgoblin warlords, and for the most part, they serve like the dark goblinoid gods and lead their armies in wanton slaughter and conquest, mostly like without purpose, just for the sake of conquest and slaughter. So seeing hobgoblins standing around in like very well made polished armor, like seeming to act like city guard and keeping the peace, is a very counter sight to you.
Huh. I'll point this out to Drusilla and Hannibal and ask, do either of you know anything about that? Pointing to the hobgoblin and the orc.
I don't think so.
Very curious. Where I come from, these are creatures, animals almost, that just live for slaughter. To see them here like this is strange.
Maybe it's just a really nice place where everyone gets along.
Maybe. What is it like? Like, what? How are other people reacting to those? To the hobgoblins, especially?
For the most part, it's like they're like anybody else. Like they, you know, if they pass, they're kind of standing. They're not like heavily populated. Like there's not a lot of them around. They're mostly just kind of standing in a more relaxed posture, just being present. But as people pass by them, like they wave and say hi. And even like you can see like one go on, like there's a shift change. And you can see like one of them go on break, and someone enthusiastically is ready to bring them a plate and kind of just welcome them in to sit down with everybody else.
And does the orc look like they're like a person of importance?
You're getting that impression, yes, because she's standing right behind the woman who seems to be the focal point of all of this, and her armor is like gleaming and shining, like polished, almost to a mirror sheen, and appears to be very, very, very well made. And she's standing almost in like you get the like a protective yet somewhat familiar sense from her and the woman sitting down at the head table.
And how far away are we from the orc?
Not too far. I'd say the table you found is probably like 40 feet away. The woman, by the way, the woman at the head table, by the way, is, despite the fact that she seems to be the focal point of all of this, looks like you can see she is ecstatic right now. She is very happy and is smile beaming ear to ear, but at the same time seems very weary and tired, and her clothes are like dirty and somewhat torn, and like she's scuffed and looks like she has been through a lot recently. You do remember from earlier that someone said that this was usually celebrating someone completing a pilgrimage, so you would assume that that's the person who most recently completed the pilgrimage.
I'll watch for a while, and if I could try to catch the orc's eye, I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, you're looking for a while, and then you do notice she's kind of scanning the crowd, and she sees you and sees you looking at her. It kind of gives you one of those.
As she does, I'll put a hand over my chest in an orc. I'll say, "Greetings, sister."
From 40 feet away?
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's like very, very loud. Like there's hundreds of people around. It'd be that like across. You know. Like a where she oh, there we go. We good?
Hold on. Yeah, just rearranging windows. This is really bad today.
Yeah, we're just about ready to finish up, so.
All right. We're all good.
Okay. She leans over and she responds in Orcish and she says, "Can I help you?"
Forgive my ignorance. I'm new here, and I was surprised to see a full-blooded kin.
Why is that surprising?
My clan, where I come from, usually orcs are. I don't wish to give offense. Marauding,
You don't.
Offense, please.
That is true and common most places, but under the light of the silver flame, all things are possible, and
If I may ask,
I have found
what is
purpose
your
here.
name?
I am called. I'm called Kalai. She said the name of your clan, and she didn't really seem to respond.
Mm-hmm. So,
And she just says, "You can just call me Kalai of the Silver Order."
what do you do here, Kalai of the Silver Order?
Primarily, we are the We are the agents of the will of the Silver Flame. In addition to guiding, as I have today, guiding new members along their journey. And she looks down at the woman sitting at the table, who you see someone come up and like enthusiastically shaking her hand, like, "Good, well done, congratulations on that, quite a journey you made." She's like, "Oh, yes, thank you."
If it would not be too much of an imposition, could you explain what is going on here?
Well, when a person is afflicted by the spell plague, they have two choices.
I'm sorry, the spell plague?
Yes, it is. It's a terrible, terrible disease that ravages living and unliving alike. Even a stone is susceptible. It has been long since contained, but there are still outbreaks occasionally. When a person is afflicted, the Silver Flame easily has the means to cure it, and a member of the Silver Order can be called upon, and they can arrive to cure the individual. Alternatively, should a person wish to join the Silver Order, they may. Those that are afflicted are the only ones eligible, but then must follow through the pilgrimage taken by the prophet Bakir several hundred years ago, from where they begin all over, culminating here, where his journey ended, where they commune with the silver flame. And she gestures up towards the palace behind you. They commune with the silver flame, and the silver flame itself purges them of the affliction and replaces their spell scar with a badge of office. And she holds out her arm, and as she does, you can see faint, translucent silver flames like curl around her forearm and just sort of like lick up into the air before extinguishing again.
The silver flame, is it a god?
Yes, a living god, right there behind you. And she gestures up inside the palace.
Aja will look up and say, that's incredible.
Quite so, yes.
Living god on the mortal plane must command great respect.
Well, and she sort of gestures around of like the temple district and the guards and the everything here kind of that seems to be dedicated to the flame itself. And she says, yes, I would say so.
And one final question, and I will let you get back to your festivities, if I may.
Of course.
This silver flame, what are its tenets? What does it care about?
Compassion, empathy, caring for those who cannot care for themselves. It does not speak in words necessarily. It feelings. Everything that we know of it and its will, we derive from, have found through trial and error, more or less. But leading a good life, first and foremost.
Protecting the weak, the innocent?
Oh, yes.
Fascinating. Well, I thank you for your time. I won't keep you further, Kalaya.
Happy to answer. Okay. Then you head away. You head back to the table.
Yeah, I'll head back to the table, and as I sit down, I will say to my two companions, "I think we may have the perfect set of allies to cultivate." And I'll relate what the orc told me.
Okay. And as you guys are sitting down and talking, you hear a shout go up like, show us, do it again, like a chant starts going up. And then as people kind of clear away from the head table, and the younger woman who is sitting down sort of sheepishly smiling, just a massive smile on her face, just stands up from the table and looks over at her orc companion at Kalai, and Kalai just nods to her. And you notice that one entire side of her face appears to have just a very, very faint scar to it that runs like from her hairline all the way down to her neck. Very faint, kind of almost shiny scar. You would, from a distance, you didn't necessarily notice it, but when she kind of purposefully inclines that side of her face towards the crowd, you can get a better look of it. And then she just closes her eyes and concentrates for a moment, and sort of in the same way that you saw Kalai do it a moment ago, but with a little bit more effort. And the whole side of her face just erupts in those silver flames that go from about here up to her hairline, just expanding up to one side. And then she looks out of the crowd and just smiles out of the males, yeah, and just start cheering and clapping as she looks, and just she just smiles and looks excited. Then it goes out and she sits back down, and then people go back to resume, like, congratulations and saying their well wishes. And as the festival is winding down and you're finishing your food, I'll say probably to conclude adventures for the week. So, thank you very much, everybody, for another fun session. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're enjoying your time in Pyre. You've got a few things to do now. You've got a job to work on to go help a hapless university student who let something loose in his master's house.
It's a trask. It's always a trask.
You've got the bone grinder is always an option, and then you've got you've just learned more about the Temple of the Silver Flame. So lots to go off of next week.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, any last minute words from everybody?
Good stuff. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, of course.
And apologies to everybody and Twitch for all the technical issues today.
Happens.
It's been rampant. I have to splice together 8 different videos now.
Woof.
Yeah, one's like 8 minutes, one's 4 minutes, one's like 35 seconds. It's gonna be fun.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So hopefully when I move in a couple